Good evening. Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. At least you had a good reason.
Yes, I shall be in the next televised QuickBooks advert, which is nice.
QuickBooks. Oh shit. It's one. Not really competitive, but it's a thing.
It's a thing for small businesses to do their tax returns and payroll.
And that's fine. I do work with accounting system, just another one.
Well, for a year I couldn't work for your company.
To be fair, it's a Microsoft product. We're just selling a solution to the recycle industry. So that's what it is. We don't really need it. You've made Jerome very happy.
Yes, it's made me very happy. So, what are we looking at? Wilhelm Chaney.
Yeah. Starting from, I was about to say Division 1, but it was just the first division in the drawing. Which is my own division.
Everybody's equal. No one is first amongst equals, isn't it? We're not in a pyramid. We're in an American-style conference system.
Yeah.
Hee-haw.
Hee-haw. And talking about it, this is pretty equal. It's a bit of a head-scratcher.
Yeah, no one's trying particularly hard to win this one by the looks of it.
Not really, especially if so if Defadan doesn't win his game, if he draws or losing that one, then one of those two, either him and Billy, will be on 8 points.
Yes,
7 points.
yes.
I will be on 7, 8 points. It's going to be a right mess, depending on what happens in my game as well tonight.
Yes, I think we can probably rule the Star Carillions and possibly the Dusseldorf Rheinfire out.
Yes.
But even a late run from New Deal could see them go somewhere.
Yeah, and the only reason is he only have the 4 games. He missed a round because of Poe.
Oh yes, and he's the one that has played this round, hasn't he? So he's a game ahead of everyone else. Okay,
yeah,
that's going to be tricky.
He missed Poe had a win and a draw, so he's 2 rounds out. He was so nice to sub in when Poe decided to say fuck Blood Bowl.
Well, of course, Sturbertus is a very decent coach, so that's no surprise.
Yeah, and secured himself a spot for next season, so that's always good. I was just looking in the last round. I'm playing Traume.
Right.
So that's probably going to be interesting. So in other words, I can pretty much decide it myself. If I could win back-to-back games, it's looking good for my 3 Goblin Orcs, but I have a hard time see that happening with this team.
Yeah, how's it been with the Goblins?
It's been interesting. I won throwing a Goblin actually last game after Defadan was yeah, had a bit of an interesting one. It's been interesting.
Okay, well that's what we often crave in our gaming.
I lost to Mark to Troy's elf, where I absolutely killed him. But as soon as it was something with the ball and the ball carrier, I couldn't do anything. So he just scored. It's just.
But again, a couple of decent games from those elves could still see them place well, couldn't it?
Yeah,
they could go on to 11 points. That's.
Yeah, he got sicky. No, it's only 4. I could go to 9. But
9 points, yes, it's 2-1-0, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, 9 points is not impossible to do it because he got Defadan in the last round.
Yes. I'm going to call him D for Dan.
D for
but
Dan.
yes.
Yeah, D for Dan. Dan. We can go with Dan. I don't know what's with people and long names in this division.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Is that Traumstunde?
I'm going with Traum.
Traum.
Let's just cut all and can be Veli. And
yes, Veli up here. Yes, this is a difficult, even your own.
Yeah, I will Difa or Dan is still a clear favorite. He's 1 game out and he can decide himself what to do.
Sure.
But I don't even want to try to call this.
I mean, even a draw there would put him in a very strong position, wouldn't it?
I would say Dan takes one spot, but I don't know who's following him.
What is Veliopia coaching? Is that
Humans?
Humans, the bashiest team.
He killed 3 orcs in 3 turns against me.
Wow.
And it was all skilled players as well.
Yes, I think probably the bottom 3 are out, aren't they? That's looking at how many games Stillbertus has left. I think that's got to be a no. And the Rhine Fire again, that's another no. And the Star Carillions. But I mean, even the Stone Eagles, as I said, 2 great games could see that. 9 could do it, couldn't it? But I think we're really looking at the top 4. And yes, I think Difadan is in a very strong position.
Yeah.
Because of course, with Trom having played already his 6th game, he's looking at maximum of 9 there, isn't he?
Yeah, he lost that one, which opened up everything again.
Yeah,
those 2 looked like they were going away with it.
Yes, even a point there would have really again just nailed that position down. But now he's got to perform in that final game and probably hope other things go for him.
And it's fine. It will be again. I'll be surprised if I can get one of the spot. It's not really. I've really been enjoying casting the playoffs.
Yes, which of course with you in it would be
a little bit more. So, but yeah, that's
well, every time you look at an Orc build, you think, oh yeah, that looks all right, but they just never seem to perform to their potential, do they, Orcs?
No, we had Diem doing well with his Orcs, his Mighty Blow heavy Orcs. But they're really they're good, but they're just not great. It's a bit, they have this bit of the curse of the humans as well. They're good, but they're not really great at anything.
Yeah.
They're good at everything, but not really great at anything.
And there's going to be matchups you can power your way through. I mean, humans are depending how you build them, can be really nasty for elves to come up against. But then if they're built that way, then when they come up against something a lot heavier and bashier, they're really going to struggle. That's the nature of the beast with Blood Bowl. Yeah. Also, Prince Moranian, the Prince Moron League.
Yeah, I was happy when somebody picked him for a division.
We'll look at that later, aren't we? The Moron build.
Yeah, and I do. I have because he's such an old star, and my first low was High Elf, so I do got a sweet spot for him anyway.
Yes, and he's a lovely coach and a lovely human, so we'll get to him in a bit. But this is looking fairly sewn up, isn't it? It's very hard to see Eelm not qualifying with those.
Yeah, but who is Largo? Who's Largo playing last round? He's playing Ilm. That could be a problem if Ilm wants to dominate.
So Largo could go above Ilm, and that could get Strider in. What's the position on equal scores? Is it head to head?
Yes. Let's see if we can find that. Oh, and they play the draw, so that would be a random on head to head.
Right.
But that's not gonna. That's probably not gonna happen, though, is it? Oh, it could.
No, I mean,
I think Strider's... a draw and a win for Strider.
Yeah. So again, if Strider can get, if Eelm can get anything out of that at all, that puts Strider in again to possibly go past Largo. Or of course, if Eelm wins, then Strider wins, and he could take that second spot. So that's nice and tight. What is Strider coaching? Those aren't humans again, are they? Or are they dwarves? It's a beard.
It's dwarves. I hate dwarves, and it's dwarves. Of course it is.
Of course, yes. And 3-2-1's not bad with dwarves.
No, and he don't like he do not like playing it. It's hilarious.
But there's some big coaches there that are not in the mix, aren't there? I mean,
Zebra's Vampires has been having a wham buff.
Yeah. Yes, and Seabraw's a very nice coach, so that's not something he would like looking at. 20 Phoenix is a very experienced coach.
Yep. Mankins is doing well in CCL. Perez is a bit boomer bust though, and he did join later as well. He's a game out.
Yeah. And those aren't going to go anywhere on that level of points. I mean, those bottom three really have underperformed slightly. Is Stab an actual Goblin team, or is it Underwhelm?
It's Underwhelm.
Underwhelm. Well, I mean, I personally, I think the new design for them, I know it was made with sprues in mind, is what everybody believes because it's obviously true. But I think the move to a gutter run is actually going to see them perform a lot better.
Yeah, they've definitely I think tournament play especially.
Yeah, I mean, because everyone tries to get one of the star gutters, and of course you then can't use rerolls with them. Yeah. But a gutter you can roster and reroll on is suddenly going to add a whole new dimension to Underwhelm, even if they lose a little bit of hitting.
Yeah, and Joe has been struggling a bit with his lizards as well.
Yes, I was really looking forward to seeing him in the Blitz pit, but I think he forgot and watched cricket that day, is the story.
Yeah, that's his own story. He played the Welsh Championship and struggled on that one. He's been struggling a bit on some of the tournaments in Blood Bowl 2. I think even if he do more and more Blood Bowl 2, I've done some videos. I think still the interface at times still bother him a bit.
I mean, he's very, very famous as a tabletop coach. And reasonably well known on Fumble as well, but I think he's very new to BB2 still, isn't he? And that interface does take some getting used to.
Yeah. He does some coaching videos and some other videos and breaking down stuff, but I do think it still hurts him a bit, especially had been hurting him in Blitzpit.
I mean, 222 is nothing to be ashamed of. If I coached 6 games at a tournament and came away with a 50% record, I'd not be unhappy on the day.
No, it's good company. Andrew is a really strong coach as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is an action-packed division and no mistakes. So, to be bubbling up towards the top of that. I mean, I don't know Largo Feldlauf at all, but
another German tabletop coach, to my knowledge.
No. What, with Feldlauf as a surname?
No, but tabletop. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's tabletop as well. But he's from the same group. I think it coaches a place in the German league as well, where Andrew as well, and Storr potentially also.
Yep, and of course Eon right at the top, which is just a cracking job given that level of opposition. I mean, to go unbeaten at this point.
And Kastrovs, it's not an easy job.
Yeah, I agree with you, Justicium. BB2 I found very, very difficult when I first started on that client. It was such a change of just feel, and the look is so different, and not being able to see the pitch means that somehow some of the controlling the field plays really, it's a struggle to get those working with BB2 sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know you can zoom all the way out, but then it's very difficult to work out exactly what's going on and who is who.
Yeah, and you still I guess they'll occasionally dodge with players where I cannot see those players behind or stuff like that.
Yes, I had an experience just before the end of a CCL season. Not this one, I think it was 2 ago, where I played Jahinian, very well known in the CCL and on BB2, and he managed to hide a beastman from me entirely by placing it over the decal on the pitch, and I just absolutely didn't see it was there at all. And then amusingly, in the chalice, he placed one there again, and he forgot about it.
Oh yeah, which that's another. People forgetting player deep as well.
I felt that was a little bit of poetic justice there. My big problem when I moved over was I was habitually building lovely cages, and then the ball runner would go right into the centre, the ball carrier, and then pass it half the field to the next player I was trying to activate.
Oh, that's a good one as well, yeah.
I must have done that 5 times before I said to myself, no, really, I need to work out why this is happening and stop it. And once or twice it worked, which was fun, but mostly it didn't. Yeah, I'm sure it's exactly the same, CJ. Moving over to Fumble must be just as difficult.
Yeah, and remembering to put a pass first.
Yeah, yet another time I'm going to drop in an advert for anyone. I run what's called the 145 Club on Fumble, where traditionally we help newer coaches to Blood Bowl, but we also help people with the client. So if you're moving over to the Fumble client for the first time or just to try it out, there is somewhere where you can go, talk to some people, get some advice on, the sort of things to remember, play a test game in a non-competitive environment with someone who might, be able to talk you through it and, explain how to set things up, how to mark players so that, you can see at a glance who everyone's skills are and things like that. Yes, Dragon Loop. Lots of people don't like the client on Fumble, and lots of people find it much more intuitive and much more like the board game. So, your mileage may vary. There's
like
space
it
in Blood Bowl for all of us.
And now we got a Mighty Sock with the most rockily handsome dude in the field, leading the pack.
Yeah, well, and again, unbeaten in TSD is always, I think, a fantastic place to be and shows the quality of a coach. I'm not building up to the fact that I'm unbeaten this season so far at all, honest. But yeah, CJ Blackburn leading the way there.
That's another tight one with 7 points.
It absolutely is. I mean, leading the way, unbeaten, but again, the round 6 games untouched on that one, of course. So we still got 2 more rounds to come. And with 2 5s, a 6, and 2 7s, that's still very, very much anyone's division. You've got to think the 4-pointers are probably out at this point.
Yeah, they can get to 8 points. That's not going to
happen. Yeah, and that's not going to be enough.
The 2 5 points is probably going to struggle as well.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back wins would see them on 9. That might just scrape into a second, but it's very difficult. Depends who the matches are and who else is playing who, of course.
Yeah, I will imagine it's between CJ, Wolfbach, and Kiefer.
Yeah, and again, that's 3 absolute top quality coaches, isn't it? There's not much you could say negative about any of them from what I've seen or heard. I mean, I don't know CJ's play as well because he's very much a BB2 player, but Wolfbach, despite being a BB2 player, I played him in the Dome, and he very, very much impressed me. I thought he was very, very solid in that format across 3 different races.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he has a slightly FATs, so it's interesting to see him in a more agility team. He has a tendency to go a little bit more heavier, like hybrid to heavy.
Yes, hybrid, a bash coach that can play the intermediates, but this is very much about agility, isn't it? What he's brought this time.
Yeah, Dark Elves. So that's
but of course, him and Kithor play each other in this round 6, so that could really decide it. I mean, a win there for Wolf and a win for CJ, and you'd think they had this sewn up.
Well, CJ got Madeira and Ever.
And in the final round, Wolf. Yeah, and in the final round, Wolfbach again has Anubis, who's propping up the table there. So
I will imagine, but I think it's going to be. I do actually think CJ, and then I'll think it's going to be Kiefer or Wolfbach. If one of them can win their game, I think they will take it.
Yes, and I think with Wolfbach having what on paper looks an easier final round, I think even a draw should see him be able to nail that second spot.
Yeah, so he's 1 point ahead already. So I think you're right. But if Kiefer wins, it's his spot again to lose, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pressure's on him. But I mean, Kiefer is a very, very talented coach, very, very experienced. So that's going to be an absolute cracker. But we're going to get some quality out of that league, whichever way it goes.
That's an impressive ringtone.
Yeah, it's because I'm old and deaf. I have a very old-fashioned ringtone.
It's much easier. I just don't have any ringtones.
I do have a specific one while she's not listening. I do have a specific one that warns me if the wife is calling, so that I can just decide if I've got any battery or not. But no, I've deliberately downloaded a sort of 1920s ringing telephone sound because if it rings, I don't want some joyful tune coming out of my pocket that it takes me 3 minutes to remember is actually my phone ringing. But obviously, those of you under 30 will think I'm insane, and this is clearly a sign of my dadness.
Yeah. So we got another one that's almost done. Glad.
Yeah.
The guys in Glad is been speeding ahead.
Harty's going to be hoping for miracles here, isn't he? Because I think there's a fair chance. Has Poncho got a game that can go past him, or is he playing Hargrim?
Who's
no? Hargrim plays Eldarin in the final round, doesn't he?
I was thinking about who actually Harty Poncho. How did that game go? Oh, Poncho. Harty won that one. So
right.
So Poncho need points.
Poncho does need to put some points on the board, and Poncho is up against Il Tempo Gigand.
Yeah.
Okay. That's definitely not a gimme. I mean, there's so few easy games in TSD, which is one of the wonderful things about it. There's real solid quality throughout most of the divisions. I mean, it's incredibly surprising here, of course, to see Shawnee with 7 losses. That's not something anyone would have predicted.
That's like an asterisk to that. So only won round 1 and round 2, and decided to drop out after round 5. But he also said he hadn't really been playing the other rounds. As soon as he started losing, he's mainly been giving up. So I decided to change round 1 and 2 to losses as well, to make it a
fairer for everyone else.
Yeah. Mainly because he did say he wasn't actually playing the other games he lost, so it didn't really make it fair for the guys he actually played.
I mean, all I know of him, I mean, having seen him play a few times, he's a very, very talented young coach, but also doesn't always seem to be in love with his Blood Bowl.
Yes. And that's a bit of a problem. And if anybody else want to do it, I would prefer people just drop out straight away instead of doing that half-assing games. Because that's not fair for anybody.
No, I'm not. I've always sort of thought in TSD, because you're only committing to 7 games, if it's a terrible season, if it's a terrible build, just play them out and then do something else the next time round. It's one of the fun things about it not being a pyramid is that the cost of failure is very, very low. You can enjoy just finding out what the limits of that build are, what the limits of that race are, and spend the time thinking, okay, what am I going to do next time?
Yeah, and it's only 1 game per 2 weeks. It's not it's an hour to an hour and a half every 2 weeks. So it's not a lot of commitment to play the games proper. But yeah, he said he hadn't been playing proper, so I decided to erase all these games and just instead of, and it didn't seem fair to put somebody new in either in that situation.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it matters how much Blood Bowl you love or how much you love your Blood Bowl. There are times that Blood Bowl kicks us all in the arse.
Yeah.
And there are times you just don't feel like, throwing some dice and seeing what happens on the pitch. And if he's in that mood, if he's in that place, then, the best of luck and love to him. I hope he finds his love for Blood Bowl again. Yeah. But, some people do not. Some people, it just hits them too hard and they just can't find it. And it is a brutal game at times.
That's where you go. I haven't, besides my run this week, I barely played Blood Bowl for 6 weeks myself, besides the scheduled stuff I had to play. But I still played the scheduled stuff, and I still played to win.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I make sure of that. If I'm not in the mood, I do something else. I've just cracked through the 3 banner sagas in the last couple of months because I haven't really felt like playing Blood Bowl. And that's been lots of fun. That's been on my to-do list for a while. And then by the time I want to play some Blood Bowl again in the season that just ended, I mean, I got a dwarf team to a reasonable record, but I'd have to have spent sort of 2 days just bashing games out. And actually, my life got to the point where I had other things to do.
We have Hagrim's undefeated Wood Elf, and it's hard to see them not going through either.
No, I think that's pretty much a done deal, isn't it? He seems to have a not that challenging final game. And he's already on the top with
It probably just need a draw and then everything is fine. And even if it loses, it probably is fine.
Probably going to still nail second place, isn't he?
No, actually not, because that would be 9. He needs a draw, because he will as minimum lose out to Eldrin, because that will be a head-to-head loss.
Right. So if Eldrin beats him, he could he could win on the countback 3-3-1, but he won there head-to-head.
So he probably
so even there it's not done.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyone that can. Although again, it's 3-3-0, isn't it? It's not like he's been dominating them.
Yeah, that's the thing, but it's just easier if you drop out instead of half-assing. That's my main point. But yeah, it could. But I still think Hagrim's to lose, and then it's coming down to Poncho. Poncho, if he can win, carry on Poncho. I think. Wood Elf versus Undead is pretty decent. But Hagrim could lose, and then it's up for grab for everybody.
Yes. I mean, it's as we said, one of the great things about how competitive TSD is. But at the same time, it is. I mean, people do get very competitive anytime they're in any kind of league. Of course they do. But it is also just a chance to try a build out, try a race out, see what you think. Do you want to take that to an actual tournament, to an actual tabletop event? I personally feel, I've had a couple of seasons where I was really trying to be competitive. This season, I'm mostly just trying to learn a race I don't coach a lot of, and and sort of learn them from the other side in a NAF-style tournament. And that's been really useful for that. So,
yeah, talking about it, when are
speaking of
your
which,
games?
here we are, yes.
When are your game with Begenter?
I think we're trying to... We wanted to do it tonight, but I'm doing this instead. So I think we're going to try and do it tomorrow.
Oh, cool. So you will be a bit clear solution here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get played. Yeah, I have to say, I really hoped that I could get more out of the High Elves this time than I'm managing to. I mean, that said, I'm unbeaten, so a couple of nice results in the final 2 games could still see me in a decent position. But it's a very, very tight league. I had thought Marzem had it sewn up, but he's literally just recorded a loss to Diom Lord, which has put Diom Lord right up into second and put Marzem under a little bit of pressure in that final game.
Yeah, we both play a lot of High Elf on combo.
I do play a lot of High Elves, but I've never
tabletop.
played them on NAF. Never played them on tabletop. I don't have a High Elf team of pieces to play, and I've never played them on NAF format because they just don't build that well for NAF.
It's my first team I bought for miniatures, and then I played a couple of tournaments and realized they were pretty shit. Especially back then, because it was the Blood Bowl tournament.
Back then.
It was 105 and 1 skill before each game. They were absolutely crap.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays they do get quite a bit of help with the tiering, and that's really what I wanted to try this time round, is to see if the tiering could really help them out. I mean, I'm loving some of what it gives you. I've picked a very, very fluid build. 3 catchers, lots and lots of dodge, almost like sort of fast armored Amazons, but I'm not struggling to score on my drives. I am struggling to put pressure on the opposition.
Yeah, the thing
and I'm wondering if moving my double from the guard from a catcher, sacrificing the speed but putting it on an AV8 lineman, might just keep it on the field a little bit more.
Yeah, but they have the problem. They don't have the breakability like the Wood Elf, and they're still a bit. Yeah. Even Dark Elf is slightly better at stopping because they have more blood.
Absolutely. I mean, Dark Elves, you traditionally you just see elf walls and they try and stall out your half and then score on theirs for a 1-0. With High Elves, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, you're more into trying to force them almost to score instead.
Yeah, you don't have enough blodge pieces to really, cause those problems. You might have lots of dodge pieces, and I do, but of course they can go down just as easily.
Oh my God,
because there's still 2 results on every die that hurt them.
I want to see TM Load versus Seekers X5 gutter runners. That game is going to be. It's going to be a dead Skaven team. Depending, the question is what the score is when the Skaven dies.
Yeah. Can he get 2 touchdowns up before he dies? Because obviously, if he does it after he dies, then he won't be doing it. So that's going to be brutal. I think that's going to be a first half game, isn't it? It'll be decided probably by half time.
That's going to be hilarious, and it's a really important one.
No, Wood Elves are absolute scum and only played by scum, Blackburn. You're absolutely right there.
That is correct. We like it.
It's the cheaty team for people that don't really want to have to learn how to coach Blood Bowl. They just want easy wins in NAF style. But yes, I still think Marzem is going to absolutely walk it. He only needs 8 points in his final game. Yeah. The only person to have got a draw with him is me. So if me and him both ended on 9, that would be random. And Diom Lord is the only person to beat him. So if him and Diom Lord ended up on 9, Diom Lord would go through. But hence for him not to get one of the spots would be very, very difficult. It would need at least 1 win from me. If I got 2 wins, of course, and he got a loss, I could go past him. Yeah. And then if Diom Lord also got a win and Marzem lost his final game as well, then we're all back in it. Vilinic, of course, isn't out of that picture either. Nope. On 7 points, only 6 games played. It's quite possible he could still do something. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities still here. And the me and Vilinic game is it me and Vaganti? No, it's me and Vilinic that play in the
6. Yeah.
So yes, against Vaganti, I really need to get some kind of result, and then against Vilinic, it could be a very, very interesting final round for both of us. It's still all very open. My money, if I had to put it on, I think Marzem's going to go through, and then it's plays your money, takes your choice as to what happens next.
Yeah.
if I can get any kind of result out of Vigente, then yeah, I'm going to feel it's mine to lose. But
it's against
like Dark
Elf. It's not your favorite matchup you have
No, I do feel there I'm up against the wall. So it's difficult games, but then that's why we're playing, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it's I'm not sure if you get a draw, I think you might struggle. If you get a win, it's looking pretty good because you might only need a draw then.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna start metagaming and aiming for a draw unless that's an obvious answer. At this point, I'm just going to try and win any game that's put in front of me. But of course, here is the here in Grashnak. We still haven't come across the Moron build yet, but we will.
Yep.
And again, there's a real shock here, which is I think worth talking about. Is what's going on with Dionysian?
Maybe Vampires is not that great.
There are no dice, but there's also no wins. That's very noticeable to me.
That's basically that's almost not even a draw.
Well, yeah.
Is it at least a deal draw? Yep, it was a deal draw against.
It was a deal draw. So yeah, I mean, let's not look at the bottom end of this. Let's look at a team that's definitely going to qualify. We have our first absolutely nailed on. It's done. 11 points.
Khemri.
And it's Khemri. Wow. I mean, Khemri do build nicely with tiering, and they were very tempting in this rule set. But to coach with a 5-1-0 is still incredibly good.
And current second place, we don't. A little bit cheating because they're game ahead of Chalk. So if Chalk wins, he will be second. But it's Storls and his flanks. Grillfaction Wolfspack.
Well, Storr is an incredible coach. I mean, he arrived on Fumble and just threw some teams into the Black Box Trophy there, which is 25 games a team. And so 4 teams, and you end up with 100 games, of course. And there's a point system as to what races you can take. So you can't just take 4 power races. And he just threw some things in that he fancied coaching and got a score that was well up in the top 10 of scores all year. And then he came back with an even better team. And he loves his stunties. He's done incredibly well with both goblins, where he only missed taking the goblin lead away from me by I think about half a point. And he dominated the fling racial lead and just absolutely put up an incredible score. And I'm very much in awe of his coaching. I hadn't heard of him much before he arrived over on Fumble, but clearly he is a great coach in all formats. And anyone that can take flings, no matter what the tiering, no matter what the help, anyone that could take flings to that position in TSD, particularly in what I don't think of as a weak division, I think he's done really, really well.
Yeah, and the halflings are pretty terrible. We don't have they don't have timber, they don't have catchers, they don't have FTs.
Nope.
It's pretty bad.
It is. It absolutely is. So I think 3-1-2 is an incredible record, and I would love to see those qualify. I share your worry that perhaps Chugman Milk is going to go past him, but
who does Chug have last game? Yeah, and Chug got blocks the Orcs in last game as well. It's I'll probably I'll leaning against Chug at an Enter Luna taking the 2 spots here.
Yes, I think most sane people would think that's probably the way. Hellboy, unfortunately, I think he's riding a little higher because I think Chug will take some more points, and I think Hellboy will drop a little bit back. But again, he's a very talented coach.
Yeah.
I don't see him nailing that second spot. I think the maths are just against him in a lot of different ways.
I guess the only good thing is going for him is playing Anton in the last game, which will have nothing to play for whatsoever.
Yes. Except, wouldn't it be lovely to finish without a single loss? Which, I can't imagine him.
Throw it.
No, exactly. I can't imagine him turning up and just watching other people click dice. That's not the way you get to 5-1-0 in the first place. So I think 6-1-0 will be the target. Yeah, I mean, let's hope. I really hope Storr can do it. I think if he does, that's a win, even if they go nowhere in the finals. Yeah. I think to get there with halflings would be worth celebrating all by itself.
Yeah, agreed. What? So how far? Oh, another one that's ready for the last round.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 6 games played all over this one. And again, we have Abram right down the bottom with 6 losses. That's never nice to see on a dwarf team. I mean, really. I know dwarves aren't that competitive, but they're also not that uncompetitive. So there's clearly a story there.
But we got
But right up at the top end, we've got all sorts of things, haven't we?
But we got a really interesting round.
Yeah.
Got game 3, which is Nim versus Baz, which means if Nim can win that round, Nim is most likely going through.
Well, then it's 10 points against 10 points, isn't it? And on head-to-head, Nîmes Lancion, a finalist last time, as I recall.
Yes.
Yeah, would go through. So, yes, Bazakastine, even on his 10 points with a 4-2-0 record, it's not done. You've got to think Triple Skull goes through one way or the other. I think that's hard to see stopping.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated because if Triple Skull loses and Baz loses, then we're back to NFL head-to-head. So it's the combined score between the 3. So it's and that's I'm not going to look back to see.
Too much maths. And I don't know about you, I'm not taking my shoes off and using my toes just to count this evening. So yeah, I mean that would be fascinating to see 3 teams on 10 at the end, but it would require. What's Triple Skull's final game?
He's playing Ungun, so there's top 4 playing.
Wow. Okay. So, but that again is vampires, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
So, perhaps Dio needs to take a few coaching tips there. Oh, I hope no one tells him. I'm casting with him over the weekend, and he's grumpy enough with me as it is.
Triple and Baz played a draw.
So if Nîmes goes through, that would give him a win against Baz.
And Nîmes and Triple Skull drawed as well. So what was Baz and Triple Skull? Did I miss that?
I haven't seen it.
Ah, that was a draw as well. So Nîmes is through.
Yeah.
And it's so if Triple Skull somehow loses to Unguns, Baz losing to Nîmes, then Nîmes is through, and it's random, so it's a coin toss between Triple and Baz.
But that way, of course, yeah, that would be a lovely end to the season. 7 games and absolutely nothing decided. Fantastic. Almost like cricket comes to Blood Bowl.
But it's hard to see either Triple Skull or Nîmes.
We should tell Joe Manji. He could sit and watch it. No, it's very hard to see both Baza and Triple Skull not at least coming away with a draw there, as neither has lost so far.
Especially both of them knowing that a draw is enough. That's pretty big as well.
It does allow you to really change how you focus on that game and what you try and do. But of course, we really shouldn't discount Nîmes, because last time he made a run all the way to the finals. So, and was a new coach to me at that point. I hadn't seen his coaching before, but I was quite impressed with what I saw. It's certainly within him to qualify again, and it is one win from happening. So yeah, another fascinating one that looks done at first glance, but turns out not to be.
And we got the last division leaded up by the Prince
and here
Sons.
We are, Prince Moron and his men. Look, I'm a huge Jerome fan. I think Justicium is a fabulous coach, as you know so well, and he knows so well. I've never been quiet in my admiration for his coaching style and the fun and the smile with which he plays. But then if you get 5 wins and a draw out of every 6 games, it's easy to play with a smile, isn't it? So he's wrapped up his position with a game still in hand. He can just he can click through and watch the dice turn, and it doesn't matter what they come up. But again, that's just not his way. He's going to want to go through 6-1-0, isn't he? And underneath that, of course, we have Azenth, who I have to confess I really don't know anything about at all, and Oriolensis, who is a very, very experienced coach.
Mainly known for different league plays.
Yeah.
And what about? And we got Celsay, which is another CCL coach. Who's playing who in that round? So Justin is playing Orlensis.
Well, with the form he's in and the way he's been playing in the last several seasons, of course, that's the defending champion right there. You've got to think that that's almost, he's going to get at least a point out of that, which is going to put Ori out of this, and see Azenth have very little to do. But
yeah, and Azenth beaten Ori as well in the head-to-head. So that's looking very, very likely. So that top 2 is not changing, I think.
Yeah, so perhaps that is the way to do High Elves, is to take Prince Moron and very little else. Because, of course, he is expensive. He really does cut back what you can afford. But with a nice skill package, that's still a lot of skills to put on the line elves you do have left. But it does leave you very short in the catchers department, usually. Of course, Prince Moron can be an absolute beast in some matchups, coming as he does with strength 4 block and tackle.
You are... Actually, I think CJ is right.
What was that?
3-point name. Because it's a 3-way head-to-head. Triple Skull will have 2 points for the 2 draw. Bass will end up having 1 point for 1 draw and a loss. So it will be Triple Skull and Nim if they end on 10 points all
3. If that's the way you set the rules up.
It cannot, but head-to-head, it's the most official way I found head-to-head when you have a 3-way tie. It's the combined point in that 3-way tie.
So Bazza is going to need to get at least a draw against Nim.
Yeah.
And Nim, of course, just needs to beat Bazza, and he will go through. And does that mean that that Triple Skull is fine, even if he loses? It sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. Must be right.
Prince Moranian will rule the world. Well, we'll have to see when you get to the finals, Justy. We know you're getting there. The question is, if someone can take him out early, if the Khemri could foul him out, or someone else, if they can just take that Prince out of your team, then I think you're going to find you're short. But of course, if you can keep him on the pitch and keep him active, then he is an incredible piece to take in at this TV.
Yeah, it's so hard to play. It's like Griff. It's such a pain to play those two.
It is the way. Well, if it is the way, then it is the way. We don't want to make Baby Yoda unhappy.